The 700 miles of trails found in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park offer many unique experiences to people who are willing to walk. Dr. Jim Anker and his son were willing. Let's find out how they go about enjoying the Smokies.
I've walked in a lot of places in this country and outside of it, and there are a lot of places I like to walk, but there's no place that I like to walk better than here. And I suspect maybe I like to walk here better than most anywhere else, including the western mountains. There's a quality of the Smokies. They're soft. They're responsive. They're not as grand as the Rockies, the Sierras. But there's a quality about them that's much more positive in a way, and I enjoy the western mountains. I think they're great. But when I walk into these mountains, I don't feel like they are daring me to walk into them. I feel like they're inviting me to. And now I don't spend as much time in the West. Maybe the folks that do the mountains there feel the same way. And that's an entirely different kind of beauty than standing on, Charlie's Bunyan, for instance, is a relatively accessible place. And it's also, I think, one of the prettiest places in the Smokies. You have just a fantastic view from this precipitous, rocky projection sticking out off the top of the mountain down into the Greenbrier. There's nothing there. You're just standing there all alone, and the wind can be howling, and the snow blowing. It doesn't make any difference whether you can see it or not. If you know it's there, you're part of it. I spend too much time, too many hours cooped up in an office. I was raised in the woods and like being out of doors. I like to get away from the people pressure. And this is certainly a place to do it, no question about that. I like the exertion. It makes me feel good. It's I don't know if it's so much a test or anything like that. It's just something that you do. It's I suppose the same reason that people jog or play handball or tennis or whatever they do. Except it seems to me that doing this is an occupation that's infinitely more rewarding than jogging around a track particularly. Besides that, you draw something here. You get a transfusion. It not only changes your set and gets you away from the pressures, but there's something positive here. You look out at that green floor of the forest and the trees budding and the sun coming through the trees. It fills you up. It gives you a refueling. You sort of feel that you draw a sense of softness or something from the soil and a sense of strength from the mountains and energy from the winds and the storms, I suppose. I don't know. I don't mean to sound so much like a poet, but it's something like that for me. There's a constantly changing scene, constantly changing, and it changes not only with the altitude and the trail, but next week this trail will be an entirely different trail than it was this week. Most of the flowers that we saw on the way up here today, I couldn't identify. Chances are very good in several weeks they won't be there. There'll be another set, and I perhaps will be able to identify that set. They change rapidly. The botany in the park is one of the world's wonders. I feel great when I get tired. I need to do that. My own capacities get so doggone limited sitting in that office that it just, I feel my rubber band is getting brittle. And unless I start stretching it some, I'll probably get ulcers or have a heart attack or something. And we don't amble on the trail. Jim is a fantastic walker. I can't keep up with him. But I get up here, and I don't know if he works as hard as I do. I suspect he doesn't, but I work hard. And you don't have to. You can do it as you please. But for me, I like to do that. I stop and I look at the flowers and see what's happening and look at the little bugs and so on. But even so, I push pretty hard for me. When I get in that sack at night, I feel tired, and I can sleep. I don't think about a thing that's happened last week or what's going to happen next week. And that's probably the greatest thing that can happen. You just become part of it. Forget about everything else. Not really forget it. It's there. It's just not important. This is important. It's important to be here. It's important to feel what you feel and see what you see. It's important to be alive. And all those other things, you know, the papers you shuffle and the schedules you have to keep, that's just not so important.
I like mainly to get away from school, living in the town, and all the people, especially the people, I guess. But it's nice to come up here and where it's not so noisy and crowded, and to walk and look around, just feel a lot freer, I guess. Like Dad was saying, not having to worry about what happened last week or what's going to happen next week, and you're just here and now, and it's very nice. It's a very nice feeling. It's also very nice to know that you're carrying on your back everything that you need to live for however many days, and not having to depend on, electricity and stoves, refrigerators, everything else. You're just here, and you can walk to there and stay there and walk to there and be there and not have to worry about where you've been or where you're going to have to go.
When you're out here and you can sort of reevaluate your problems and say, well, it's more important for me to have a drink of water out of that cold spring right now than just about anything in the world. Whether I get my income tax refund back or whether I get the mortgage payment in or whatever. At Russell Field for several years there was a big old sow bear and several cubs. They keep their cubs for 2 years until they finally let them loose. There also were, 5 or 6 deer, I guess, and there's an old fruit tree there in back of the shelter. And they weren't tame at all. They're wild animals, except they weren't frightened either. They weren't hunted. And there weren't many people there, and we were just sort of part of nature, which is what this is all about, I guess. We were at least we felt as much that we belonged there as they did. And we'd run around the top of the field with them. We'd sort of chase them a little bit, and they'd run away, and then they'd chase us, and we'd run away. It's just playing, just like any animal's playing, I guess. It's a high. It's a great high. There's less Mickey Mouse stuff up here. There isn't any protocol. I've met coal miners, pediatricians, lawyers, United States Marshals, sellers of Hallmark greeting cards, And if I met him anywhere else in the world, we'd have to go through our little protocol. Here you don't have to. Everybody is just kind of people. It doesn't make any difference where you came from or where you're going.
That's it. Take my revenge from here.
Well, where you want to put it?
Get a little runoff.
No, not much.
It's all right. It's a little hanging.
It's not a bad idea to boil the water, but we usually don't. You have to know where it's coming from. If it's coming from a spring, and you know the spring is good, especially if it's high. As a matter of fact, I think boiling ruins the taste of it. It comes out of the ground about, I think it's around 55 degrees. It's nice and cold. Usually has a high mineral content, and it just tastes real good. I like it, and there's no need to boil it. Now, if you're down lower and you're getting runoff, or if you've got a spring that you're not sure of, that is, if there's surface water coming into it and you've got animals grazing or human populations above it, then by all means, up high in these mountains, it's no problem.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's about it.
The tent weighs 3.5 pounds, holds 2 men. One of the problems with backpacking lightweight tents made out of nylon, of course, all of them are made out of nylon. If they're waterproof, then the nylon doesn't breathe. And when you're sleeping inside of them, the body moisture that you evaporate, that you transpire, give off, doesn't have any place to go, and it collects on the inside of the tent. So on a nice, cold, clear night, it'll be raining inside of the tent. Now, this tent is waterproof. It has a net front in it. The whole thing is netted. It has a little cowl that hangs over the front of the tent. So unless the wind is blowing pretty hard, you can leave that front flap open. We usually do. It has a vent in the back of it. And also on this one, this has an eave on it. And along the eave on either side, you can see a few little snaps and some cheesecloth in there. That's actually nylon netting. You drop those snaps and it gives you a ridge all the way around underneath the eave, so it ventilates pretty well. Just go ahead and tighten those up.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. All right?
Okay. That's got it.
We've got two kinds of packs with us. This one I'm carrying is a jerry pack. It's a small one. I think they call it the Vagabond. The reason I'm carrying that is because it's big enough to carry the gear that I've got with me, and not much bigger. The whole pack and the frame weighs 2 pounds. That's about as light, short of a little day pack, about as light as you can go. The amount you carry in your pack depends really upon what you want to carry. And we try to carry as little as possible, and still, I'm sure we carry more than we need, probably a quarter, half again as much as we need. It's probably not a bad idea to do that, but when Muir went walking on the trails, he used to take a sack with him, a blanket, a copy of Paradise Lost, the New Testament, and that was it. And a change of underwear, that's right. He had a change of underwear. As a matter of fact, there's a story about him as he was coming through this area back in 1867. A fellow looked at him and thought maybe he had something valuable in that pack. The fellow was riding a horse, and offered to carry his pack for him, and he looked menacing enough, so Muir figured he ought to let him do it. And the fellow kept easing the horse ahead and getting ahead of Muir, and he figured, well, sure, he was going to steal that pack, and when the fellow found out what was in it, he was sure it wasn't worth it. He just dropped it and went on. And that's the epitome of being a good backpacker. This pack I have is good. We usually take this out for the weekends. We leave on Friday and come back on Sunday. That is 3 days, 2 nights, 2.5 days worth of food. If we're going fishing, we take the fishing gear with us. That weighs a little. But ordinarily, my pack weighs about 20, 25 pounds, not over that. We carry Sierra Club cups. We cook in them, we eat out of them, bathe out of them, anything that needs to be done. That's an essential part of the gear. So we have a pot, a stove, and a cup, and a spoon.
Spoon, yeah.
Well, the whole idea is to carry as little as you need. As a matter of fact, I guess one of the marks of an amateur is carrying more. You reach a point where you start cutting the edges off your maps and your toothbrush in half. I don't have any maps with me, which says something, and I do have a toothbrush, and it's cut in half. These things we usually get rid of when we get up here. They're great to walk in. They're not particularly comfortable to lie around in. Most of the hiking boots are, there's variation in construction, but most of them are made. They're heavy. These are medium heavy. They're made out of one piece of leather. Without seams ordinarily. They lace all the way down to the toe and up to the ankle, so you can get it tied up around the foot all over. You don't want to slide around in it, obviously, especially on these steep slopes. And that Vibram sole is stiff. It's very much like a board. There's a lot of good reason for that. If you're walking on rough terrain, every small rock or stick or what have you tends to turn your foot and stick into the bottom of it. This means when you set that thing down on a rock, it's like you're standing on a board. Despite the fact you have to carry that weight around with you, they give you an awful lot of support. It makes it easier walking, not harder, and much safer. I've seen people up on the crest here wearing soccer shoes, tennis shoes, moccasins. You can make it. Usually they're complaining mightily. Their feet are in bad shape. Their ankles are swollen and hurting, and if they haven't turned them by the time they got up, they probably will by the time they get down. Well, as a matter of fact, in the equipment check that the Park Service makes, if you don't have decent boots, they won't let you go, which is very proper. That'll do. You hear stories about bears injuring people, and that's sometimes is true. We've seen a lot of them, and I've never had any trouble at all. The only trouble we've had is that one time that Jim had his pack ripped up. They do seem to be awfully damn clever, bright animals. I've heard stories of them climbing the trees and grabbing a hold of the lines that the packs were strung on and pulling the packs up, literally. I've never seen that now. But there's no real problem. In terms of camping out, backpacking, staying out like this, you want to keep your food away from you. When you're sleeping, you surely wouldn't want to put your pack in your tent with your food in your pack. That's just inviting trouble. The bear probably wouldn't hurt you. He's just likely to step on you and scratch you up a little bit trying to get to the food. And he won't necessarily enter through the front of the tent. He'll just come in any way he pleases. Well, there's an old poem. How does it go? The children's hour? Something like that. When the night's beginning to lower or something. Comes a pause in the day's occupations. That happens up here. The wind usually goes down unless there's a storm. About sundown. Or as the sun is setting. In the morning, too. Things quiet down. The birds come in close. You can usually hear them. and everything just stops. Of course, you don't have much sunlight left. When you're up high, the sun goes down very quickly, and when it's down, it's pretty well dark. So usually by that time, we're all set up. We might have a little fire and sit around it. But there's an hour or so there. We've got a full belly, we're tired, cooled off, and it's just a time to sit around and tell bear stories. Or I remember when there was 3 feet of snow, that sort of thing. I suspect it's a time to get to know each other better than most any. We usually go to bed pretty early, too. Get up early. I think God didn't really mean you to stay up after dark. At least not up here.
Ever think of country music as a cultural heritage? It is. And there's some coming up on this next segment of Meet the Smokies.